Respected Mayor, representatives of the government of Montenegro, representatives of the diplomatic corps, dear guests, good afternoon and welcome to the third Podgorica Investment Forum. First of all, on behalf of the capital city Podgorica, I would like to thank everyone for coming here today. We are deeply honored by your presence at this very important event for Podgorica. We gathered today to present and promote the investment potentials within the investment environment of Podgorica, as well as opportunities for investing and attracting potential domestic and foreign investments. The topics of today's panel discussions are sustainable business, environment at local level, and the second panel, Podgorica and Montenegro investment potentials. Now, I would like to invite Mayor of capital city Podgorica, Professor Dr. Olivera Injac, to address the audience. Please.
Good afternoon all. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to third Podgorica Investment Forum, which we organized as a part of the strategic planning process of the capital city and in line with the government of Montenegro, in addition to foster investments and innovations for the sustainable business environment. I would like to take this opportunity to express my honor and pleasure to greet you on behalf of Podgorica, the capital city of Montenegro, and on my own behalf. We have distinguished panelists today, and forum is followed by diplomatic representatives, representatives of the foreign and domestic business community, representatives of the government of Montenegro, as well as local companies and administration representatives, academia, media, and others. Recognizing the importance and role of the Podgorica Investment Forum as an event that is essential for the promotion of Podgorica and its potentials, I appreciate the opportunity to present Podgorica to an esteemed audience as an economically stable and attractive investment destination. It gives me an utmost pleasure that the capital city Podgorica is the organizer of such event, and we can discuss core projects for sustainability and resilience of the local and national economy, as well as its investment potentials. I consider that we all, united by a common vision, a vision to strengthen strategic investments in addition to shape a future of prosperity and innovation. In the ever-evolving landscape of global markets, our ability to adapt and capitalize on emerging opportunities becomes the leading role of the local and national governance. Today's forum serves as a nexus, a platform of knowledge sharing and resources aimed at exploring avenues that not only generate investment possibilities, but also contribute to sustainable development, employment, and well-being of citizens. With the engagement at this forum, I'm sure that we all can make contribution to the sustainable business environment and investment opportunities, and additionally, to pave the way for a brighter and more resilient future of the capital of Montenegro. The last but not the least, wish all panelists and participants fruitful discussion and the future partnerships. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor Injac. Now, I would like to invite Minister of Spatial Planning, Urbanism and State Property, Janko Odović, to address the audience. Please.
Thank you. Dear ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to greet you on behalf of Ministry of Spatial Planning, Urbanism and State Property and at the name of Government of Montenegro, and to wish you successful work. The main process and factors that influence the economic development of our country, which reflects on spatial development as well, are European integration, market economy, rapid development of IT and urbanization trends, demographic changes, achievement of social development and cohesion. There are also climate changes, but also greater general and environmental awareness. Imperative for economic development of every country is high quality and preserved space, which must be equipped with traffic, energy and utilities infrastructure and must satisfy functional criteria. In this sense, infrastructure systems are fundamental condition for functional use of space and investments. Nevertheless, the development process of Montenegro indicates certain regional differences. Those differences impose the need to redefine existing model in spatial planning and design new models on integral spatial management in accordance with state needs and interests. The basis instruments of spatial planning and spatial development are planning documents. They must be statement of comprehensive sectoral planning of use of space and protection of fundamental values. Montenegro's strategic determination to rationally and sustainably use its natural and creative resources must be projected in these documents. Also, quality planning documents are the basis for attracting investments. They implement the ideas of Montenegro, but also ideas of this government, but also of the capital city. We will together create conditions for improving the investment environment in Montenegro, which will be in the focus of the work of Ministry of Spatial Planning, Urbanism and State Property. Furthermore, the second condition, if you ask me, it's the first condition, the databases of cadastre are also to be in our focus too. Mainly accuracy of data contained, but also accessibility by institutions such as State Special Prosecutor Office and other state bodies and our citizens too, but also you, investors. Fully functional cadastre with accurate databases is the foundation of every serious public policy and development. And as I can say now, it's the first step towards a big plan of ours, to that every permission that you need to build something or to have some businesses established, you will have it in 36 hours. It's the mainly, and it's our focus in 4 years. Although some global trends indicates concern, we must all take efforts so that Montenegro, even in these times, moves forward in all fields and joins EU as soon as possible, because Montenegro's position in Europe has always had a huge impact on its further economic development. Once again, it's my pleasure to be here today, and hereby I declare the third Podgorica Investment Forum open and wish you successful work. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Now the first panel starts. I invite the panelists to join us. Please, Olivera Injac, Mayor of Capital City Podgorica. You're welcome. Mr. Mladen Grgić, Mr. Nicolas Marquiu, and Mr. Emanuel Koenig.
Distinguished attendees, it is my pleasure to briefly introduce our esteemed panelists who will speak on the topic Sustainable Business Environment at Local Level. I will start with Professor Olivera Inhac, the first female mayor of the capital city Podgorica, today in the role of organizer and host of this event. Prior being appointed as the Ministry of Defense of Montenegro and work as a professor at University of Donja Gorica. I believe that due to her active political but social engagement as well, she will make a full contribution to today's discussion. Next, we have Mr. Nicolas Marquier, IFC Regional Manager for Western Balkans, overseeing IFC strategy and business, as well as managing key client relationships across Albania, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Kosovo, Montenegro, North Macedonia, and Serbia. Based in Belgrade, he oversees IFC regional efforts to support private sector growth and attract private investments in key areas, including connectivity, inclusion, and climate resilience. Welcome. Mr. Emmanuel Koenig is also with us today, Government and Public Service Leader, Central and Eastern Europe of PricewaterhouseCoopers, with over 33 years of professional experience, helping clients gain value from their investments across a variety of industry sectors. Some of the key clients he oversees are the Central Eastern Europe region, are the World Bank, UNDP, EBRD. Welcome. Last, but certainly not least, we have Mr. Mladen Grgic with PhD in the field of international political economy. Held the position of Director of Investment Agency of Montenegro until April 2023, when he became Economic Affairs and Economic Diplomacy Advisor to the President of Montenegro. Welcome. Mayor Inhac, recognizing the necessity of a green and digital transition and importance that cities play in the fight against climate change and adopting sustainable development goals, European Commission launched one mission called 100 Climate Neutral and Smart Cities by 2030 in September 2021. Podgorica is part of that mission. Can you tell us what role do local governments play when it comes to fostering sustainable business environment and how they can be optimized to encourage more eco-friendly practices?
Thank you, dear moderator. Thank you once again all for accepting the invitation to take part in this important event. Actually, yes, you are true. We joined this year the Neutral City Network, and there was organized few events which we actually the mayors shared ideas on how cities could adopt smart strategies and sustainable development and improve sustainable development through the businesses and innovations in our cities. Local governance is important, actually. Yes, you are true that that's focal point for the governing all business framework policies for investments, for innovation, for other things. It always goes together. It is good, like in this case, if it's in line with the government policy, but of course, it's up to us how we can promote and build good plans, strategies, and policies for the investors, just to attract them to invest money, time, and resources in the capital of Montenegro. And from our position, we spent a few months in preparation for this process. I also want to add that I am very proud, actually, as mayor, that I could find something what is very useful for us. Podgorica is part of a business-friendly she received a business-friendly certificate in 2021, and next year we are planning to renew it, actually, to recertificate, and having in mind the new concepts and new needs related to the environment, to the sustainable development, digitalization, and other things. Our plans and strategic planning is oriented and rely on the needs of the city, but of course to meet all needs which are planned by this certificate. What I want to add, what I mean when I say smart, sustainable city, Podgorica is the beautiful city, the city which has, in my opinion, advantages and resources, how could easily became or be transferred from traditional city to the smart city, not just in a sense of digitalization, but smart, sustainable city, because we have plenty of advantages like climate. We are privileged with the climate, more than 2,000 sunny days per year. It's actually the beauty of, and also potential for the investments in the transition for renewable energy projects. And of course, in the same time, parallelly with that, to improve capacities for more sustainability and ecological standards. All the time, while we were prepared all the plans, I will use the opportunity to make the comment. We try to somehow see what is part of the, especially 27 chapter for EU negotiation accession process, because there are some of the points, or let's say, not critical, but some of the challenging fields and issues which could be solved in Podgorica and surrounding areas, and somehow to meet the needs for EU accession negotiation process. I pay attention on 27, but it's also covering all others. I will just mention a few other things, like we have advantages for something what is called, actually we applied for UNEC, United Nations Economic Commission for Europe, for the to see what are the potentials for our to improvement in the field of sustainability, and we received good assessments. Actually, we have they by results of evaluation, city performance as a smart, sustainable city profile of Podgorica are showing that we have high performance in the categories of environment and IT infrastructure, but also moderate to high performance in housing, environmental quality, safety, health, culture, and education. I think there is many fields, many areas, many sites where we can improve capacities and we can improve our and attract investments and innovations in Podgorica, that our city could be even more beautiful and more developing in the next years. And I will conclude. I won't waste too much time. I really, with a huge pleasure, want to hear opinions of other panelists. And somehow, as I mentioned at the beginning, this is the opportunity also for sharing knowledge here, and really. As a professor, I very much respect the knowledge and the smart ideas of others, so I will use also this opportunity to discuss with them. But at the end, I will just mention our plans and capacities for smart city system, which include digitalization and innovations in that field. I'm really happy to hear that in the meantime, by strategic plan of Podgorica, it was invested a lot to build a good plan and good strategy where we can address all needs of our citizens. I'm sure in the field of traffic, especially probably all visitors and all people who live in Podgorica and the guests know how we are have huge obstacles related to the parking zones. We don't have underground garage, and I'm sure waste management, other things are also needed to be improved, infrastructure in this field. So somehow our interest, our ideas and proposals ideas for investments are related to somehow to converge digitalization with the issues of environment, with the issues of infrastructure, with the issues of energy supply and other things. I will stop here. I'm sure there is plenty of other things, but as I said at the beginning, this is also opportunity for the new partnerships, and not all the things could be said today, but I'm sure in the future will be more opportunities for cooperation.
Thank you, Mayor Inec, for your discussion and all the insights regarding capital city Podgorica and investment potentials. Actually, I wanted to add to your discussion regarding the role of public-private partnerships in developing and implementing climate resilience strategies that you mentioned. Some of them you already mentioned. Would you like to give a briefly overview of that?
Yes, definitely public-private partnership and business, including private sector with the public one is something what is probably, due to the budget limitations, due to the, if you want to manage it, to have a development on one side and also to get all possible stakeholders together. We are seeing cooperation with the private sector important. I am sure that Mr. Grgic could speak more about PAP's obstacles and possibilities, or advantages and disadvantages. We adopted the law, but unfortunately it's not very active. If I may say, it's not in the practice so much proved like it's in the paper. So we are seeing that as a possibility, not, as I said, work with through the business council, actually, which exists in Podgorica and will be expanded in next period of time, but with new members, new potentials and new stakeholders, but also PPP's interests are very much in the state, in the local administration. We are seeing as a potential for maybe to change some business models in the local companies, but also to improve capacities, as I mentioned, in the infrastructure, building infrastructure for underground garage or something like that. But for that, we need support from the government level, and of course, doing the things together. I think I said we are focal point, but yes, we need support from the government, in addition to speed up some of the things and to be more efficient in implementation of PPP's potentials of Montenegro. And I'm sure there is plenty of them, especially in Podgorica. I am sure there is many fields where and many sectors where it could be useful in a next period of time.
Thank you for your answer. This was really detailed and I think useful information for all our attendees. Mr. Marche, the International Finance Corporation is part of a World Bank group and committing to promoting private sector investments in developing countries. The IFC recognized the importance of creating sustainable business environment and sees as a key point in its development strategies. My question is, how can actually local communities collaborate with IFC to establish and nurture more sustainable business environment?
Thank you, and I want to say it's a pleasure to be here in this forum today. Thanks a lot for inviting me. So as you mentioned, IFC is the private sector arm of the World Bank Group. So the World Bank would finance government, sovereign, and IFC focuses on the private sector, but also sub-sovereign. So we can finance municipalities without government guarantee. And that's an important point because in many countries, I mean, you have quite a bit of fiscal stress in terms of the ability for the government to finance the economy, and so that's where the private sector can come in and support plugging some of the gaps. So in terms of our objectives in Montenegro, it's really inclusive, productive growth, and that's supporting private sector there, and improving the resilience and sustainability of the economy as well. And so in these two pillars, really, IFC has a role to play and the private sector as well. So if we step back a little bit and look at cities, and I mean, you're speaking about local communities, cities, at the level of the world population, every year you have an additional 70 million people moving to cities or living in cities. That's the equivalent of the population of my country, France, living in cities. So that gives you a sense of the scale. And most of this growth in urban areas is in emerging markets. So in still countries that are developing very much. And so the needs are enormous. In addition to this move of population, you also have climate change that is happening. And that's affecting emerging markets differently. But here, if you look at Western Balkans, Montenegro in particular, I mean, you can expect probably more rain in the winter and less rain and drought in the summer. In the summer, that happens to be when you have more tourists that are coming here. You also have immigration. So you have many factors that are affecting cities and where the city's infrastructure will be stretched. And hence the needs for better planning and better resilience of this infrastructure. And so maybe I can speak about how IFC can support. So really there are two ways. So one way is for the municipality to borrow and buy services in certain areas. Another way is public-private partnership, where you would have the private sector operate and potentially own some of the assets, and you have an agreement with the government to ensure that the people are getting the service they deserve. So how we go about this? At IFC, really, we're a long-term partner, and we are, in the case of the city of Podgorica, I mean, we've financed road infrastructure, bridges in the past, and looking to do more and keen to do more. And we understand transport is an area where there are gaps, but there are also other areas. Really, the main thing is to have a plan, and I think that's, the mayor really has a vision in terms of getting to a sustainable city, and that's what matters the most, is really to have a clear compass of where you want to be. And then from there, I mean, we can work with the municipality to define, okay, how do we prioritize these investments? What needs to be on public funding? What can be better done by the private sector? So IFC can partner at this level, but we can also finance some of these investments. And that's where we come in making sure those investments are bankable, and you'd have the private sector come along. So just to give you an example, earlier this year, in July 2023, we anchored sustainability-linked bond for the city of Zagreb for 75 million. And this sustainability-linked bond is linked to indicators when it comes to the sustainability of the city. So linked to renewable energy deployment, to waste management and wastewater treatment. So basically the city is committed to certain goals and linked the financing to these goals. And they actually got a slightly cheaper financing with this mechanism. And we helped the city structure this financing and finance part of it, bringing along other investors. So that, I mean, such structure may not work here, or it may, but there may be other options we can look at, but that's how IFC can play a part, bringing the private sector to cover the needs of the cities. Let me stop there.
Thank you. You mentioned during your discussion the ways that cities and municipalities can cooperate with IFC. And also, I just have one short question that I believe that attendees here, since the majority of them come from private sector, both foreign and domestic, would like to know what are those financial mechanisms and incentives actually available to local businesses? You mentioned something, but just to collaborate more.
Yeah, so in terms of getting to a more sustainable business environment, I think the cities by themselves are contributing a great deal, right? So for instance, if you can offer renewable energy to the companies that are based here, they'll have a huge advantage when they want to export to the European Union in the future. So by supporting cities in a way, we're also supporting the business environment. But more importantly, I mean, our bread and butter is to finance companies and private sector investments. So that can be long-term debt, loans that we can provide for project finance, but at corporate level as well. We can take equity positions in companies. I mean, we're really flexible in terms of the structure of what's needed for these companies. Very often in the Balkans, we come across investment sizes that are a bit too small for IFC, and that's where we work through financial institutions. So what we can do is provide line of credits or risk-sharing facilities with local banks to support them when they go and finance farmers, when they go and finance SMEs that are trying to green their operations. And so we identify a portfolio of loans and we share the risk with the bank to push them in that direction. So we can finance either directly if it's large enough or through financial institutions.
Thank you, Mr. Maker. I think this was really useful, as I mentioned, for our attendees. And I believe that they all came here with their full devotion to invest in capital city Podgorica. Next, we have Mr. Koenig. PricewaterhouseCoopers is really world-known professional company that offers a variety of services, including consulting, auditing, and tax as well. And PwC recognizes as well the importance of sustainability and actively actually initiates some activities that contribute to sustainable development. My question is, in what ways can PwC expertise in sustainability, but corporate responsibility as well, be harnessed to support and guide local businesses toward more sustainable environment?
Thank you for questions and inviting me. I mean, our business is about building trust in society and solving complex problems. That's maybe sounds simple, but this is what we do. So when you look at the trust part, and we look at what's happening in sustainability nowadays, everybody starts doing sustainabilities. Everybody wants to, when I say everybody, it's individual, corporate, states, want to do something in that, but you need to have a third party, an independent party coming and saying, yes, let me help you on your reporting, on your quality of your reporting, on the accuracy and the independence of the reporting. So this part of our business is becoming very big and is moving very fast. If I tell you that till 2 or 3 years ago, when we were talking with corporations about sustainability reporting, they would all look at us like, from which planet are you coming? And I'm not talking New York, London, or Paris. I'm talking in the region here. And now we have corporates coming and knocking on our door. They want to do reporting on sustainability, and they need a serious partner on that. So this is the first aspect of our business, and that's important. So we help companies doing that. The second part is the solving complex problem is really about helping companies thinking about it upfront, what's their strategy, or how they implement it, doing feasibility study about what they want to do around sustainability, and also putting, I would say, together the private sector and the public sector, whatever they are, cities or government. And when I see the panel here, I would say our job somewhere is complex but simple as well, is we bring the private sector together with central government, with cities, and with international funding institutions, and we work together, right? So this is our business. Now, to be a little bit more concrete, what we are doing with cities, for example, across Central and Eastern Europe, so we have a very strong network. I mean, you mentioned we are a large organization. I'm covering 27 countries, and for example, we have done with about 15 cities across Central and Eastern Europe what we call the Just Transition EU program implementation, which is very interesting because it's really about moving out of businesses who are based on high carbon footprint fossil fuels into transiting into more sustainable type of business, more digital business. And we do a lot of things around helping companies converting, helping economies and cities converting, including everything which is about social responsibility, about retraining people, about the social aspects of that. So this is a very important thing. We are also, we have, for example, launched 3 years ago a very interesting sustainability index for cities across the world, actually 40 cities where we really analyzed what cities are doing. And we are launching our CE edition this year, and I would be very happy to invite Podgorica to participate. So basically, we are really trying to put together the different stakeholders, and we bring the expertise of our network. As I mentioned, CE, we are 27 countries. We are present in more than 120 countries, so we have the capability to bring the expertise, especially around sustainability, which is very new for pretty much all of us. So that's what we do. What we can do.
Thank you. Just have one short question. You mentioned something, but can you elaborate more of how such collaboration can actually foster innovation, create shared value, but also the overall resilience of long-term goals when it comes to communities?
Yeah. I mean, talking about collaboration and fostering innovation, yeah, I want to have a little bit of a dream and a vision here, correct? So if I take the example of Podgorica, and let's think about Podgorica 5.0, a sustainable and smart Podgorica. I think till now what I'm saying is maybe a little bit vision, a little bit dream, but it's starting to be a reality from what we hear, what's happening. So urban transport, green transport is happening, recycling is coming, circular economy is happening. And last but not least, what I think the Podgorica 5.0 dream can make a difference is about bringing here the tech ecosystems, the startups, getting into a smart specialization, correct? So attracting the tech entrepreneur into areas where Podgorica can really bring value, not necessarily going in traditional business. I think Podgorica is not necessarily attractive for that. But there's a lot of areas which is good. I take an example of the agri and the tourism. And when I say agri, it's about, we have one of the largest winery in the suburb of Podgorica, Plantage. I can see here a fantastic innovation hub where we would bring the tech ecosystem, the smart entrepreneur here, working on innovating and research and development around the value chain of, why not wine? I have a Frenchman next to me. Wine, fruits, sustainable farming. And when do you attract this tech ecosystem and this tech startup, you really have the largest technology companies coming, and then you create this ecosystem of innovation together with universities. There are good universities here, together with the cities, and together with the private sector. I think we have to be here innovative and to be courageous enough to move into something smart specialization, creating this innovation about creating hub here. I think that's that. And this dream is happening, as I mentioned, as I've heard. Why? Because there's also a momentum which is unique for Podgorica. There are some good things which are here in structural. You talk about the climate, you talk about the fact that a tech entrepreneur loves to come in places where he or she is close to the nature. We are at 1 hour of the sea, 1 hour of the mountain. We have a lake, and we have rivers around us, correct? There is a momentum when you look at the interests of the EU around the Western Balkans and of course around Podgorica and Montenegro because of what's happening in Ukraine. There is a momentum because money is available. He has a check in his pocket. EBRD is here. What is important is to have a vision and to have projects and to come, and I'm sure that they will find the right partnership. So I think this capacity of innovating needs smart specialization. The money is here, the vision, the project, and I think attracting the tech ecosystem around the smart specialization, agriculture, I would say smart tourism, smart agriculture is something which I would love to see Podgorica going on, and I would love to participate into.
Thank you, Mr. Koenig. I believe that your perspective really added valuable insights to our discussion. Next, we have Mr. Grgic. Through your rich experience so far, both academically but also professionally, when it comes to attracting foreign direct investments, could you please share with us your thoughts? How economic diplomacy can advance our national interest, including improving our economy, ensuring market access, and promoting businesses, and how it is actually reflected on local level?
So thank you very much. Thank you for the generous introduction as well. I enjoyed the previous interventions. Basically, when you look at to start a bit with some interesting information and data, when you look at what happened in 21 and 22 regarding the foreign direct investments in Montenegro, when you strictly look at the data, you will see that 22 was the record year in FDIs. We attracted more than in the previous decade, when you see in relative terms. As well, I think in 2022, Montenegro was the 9th economy in the world for attracting FDIs in relation to its share of GDP. Those let's say, information do kind of are positive, but when you look at the structure of the FDIs, then you will see that we have serious issues. We basically attract FDIs mostly in our real estate sector, which is problematic, and then you don't see them, we don't have enough greenfield investment and so on and so forth. So for Montenegro is not an issue of attracting, but actually what kind of investments to attract. Economic diplomacy plays a crucial role there, and definitely its importance increased in the last decade, especially with the rise of the Chinese economy and the Asian economies, and all these challenges that the international system has faced in that regard. And now it's even more complicated. Economic diplomacy, it needs to be completely in line with the foreign policy of the country. It needs to follow on strategic orientation of the country. And also now there's an element of the security issues. You have to be careful what you are promoting, which fields, and especially when we talk about strategic digital fields. When the president took office more than 6 months ago, what we faced was a situation where Montenegro has had this image in the past couple of years of political instability. We did pass through something which is very normal democratic development, but we did have issues with people missing in judiciary system, many institutions in acting positions, many institutions changing the leadership very fast. So this did create this narrative of political instability, which is really bad for if you are trying to attract serious companies to invest in the country. So basically what we did and how we used the economic diplomacy was first of all to change this narrative. So we use all these bilateral visits and the meetings to meet with the investors as well, to meet with the business communities of the countries which we visited, in order to explain that the political developments and the political instability in the country, which at least the image of it, was just a part of a regular democratic transition, and that Montenegro soon will have a government in place that will start basically fulfilling its EU agenda and basically creating a more stable environment. And this is what is happening now. So I'm very happy that we manage to deliver as a society and as a system to our promises that we made in the last 6 months. And I think there we had really successful diplomatic activities where once you explain what is happening in the country, you can understand that you hear a very positive feedback from the business community. We have to keep in mind that all these communities are very close to each other, although the world is big, but at the end of the day it's very small because especially big businesses and corporate are very connected. So the message spreads very fast, and I think that Montenegro now is really, it's really moving ahead, and it's showing some good signs, and I think we are leaving this negative narrative, which sometimes it was really, I will say, pushed too much, and I don't think it reflected completely the reality. But nevertheless, I think we are leaving this behind, and we are entering in a more positive narrative. Here, I think it's very important to explain that the political stability doesn't mean, as we often tend to perceive here, longevity of a government. It means, you know, having institutions in place, a system that works no matter who is in the government. And that is following strategic orientation of the country. And I think this is what investors and the business community is actually looking at the end of the day, looking for the stable institution and things that are happening no matter what is happening on the political arena. So maybe that's for my first.
Thank you. I just have to tackle our topic of the panel. When it comes to strategic diplomacy, what role does it play in attracting foreign direct investment and fostering trade partnerships, but in line with sustainable economic growth?
So basically, I would say the economic diplomacy comes at the end of that whole package. First, you need to create an environment to positive environment. You need to have a strategy, and the country needs to define where it wants investments, in which fields, and once that is done, then these fields needs to be regulated and not for investments. Then the economic diplomacy comes at the later stage in order to attract investors and lead them in those sectors. One of the things that we have, and unfortunately I had this experience even when I was leading the Montenegro Investment Agency, sometimes you bring investors in the fields which are strategic for us, but which are not mature enough for the investors. So then when you attract someone to come and invest in the country, then you cannot create an environment for them to actually accomplish their work, then you have a really negative feedback. I'll give you an example. We have now a huge interest in our energy sector for objective reasons, because we have an amazing environmental preconditions for the energy sector to flourish. We have some important infrastructural preconditions as well, as like the cable between Montenegro and Italy, relatively good connections with the neighboring countries, but still we do not have a network in place to support all these investors. So we had this rush in the solar electric investing in solar power plants, and now we have 4 times more requests than our grid, our network can actually handle. So these are typical examples of how we should not work. So basically our economic diplomacy, as we are just we are just entering a sort of a political maturity, having a stable government which will be creating a set of legal frameworks in different fields. I think now our focus needs to be on creating a positive image of Montenegro, not focusing on specific sectors, but more on actually the whole image of Montenegro, of a country that is becoming very successful. And politically now, when you compare to the region, we are politically very successful because we are delivering on our EU agenda. The EU window is opened again, and now we have all these preconditions to do well. So.
Thank you very much. As I mentioned before, really your rich experience, both academic and professional, you really did demonstrate during your discussion. And now, let me just, I would like to thank all the panelists really for your inspiring discussions and for your time as well. And I would just like to give the floor to the mayor as the host of this gathering, just to give us some briefly closing remarks.
Thank you, Ms. Moderator. Actually, before closing remarks, I will just, if you allow me, I would like to give some comments on the few interventions. Actually, I very much like what you said about prioritization. I think that's the crucial thing because if you don't prioritize all the projects and interests of the city and the country, then we have a problem. And you know, it's, I would say, the most challenging job now. And sometimes some people mentioning, you know, it takes, you know, we had a meeting 2 months ago. I said, okay, yes, but 2 months is a very short period of time. If you allow me, you know, it takes time to analyze the situation, to assess everything, and to have good and really productive and decision, and to talk with the partners, with the coalition, with everyone, just to see how to conduct it, you know, to meet all the interests and the cover, especially what I mentioned, EU accession negotiation process, you know, targets. So that's one of the things I like it so much, and actually thank you once again for that intervention. And of course, Mr. Koenig, you mentioned smart specialization. That's something what I'm looking forward to start with a new technological part with the University of Montenegro, and there is probably a lot of perspectives for new startups and new innovative ideas for the small businesses in the city of Podgorica, which can be very productive for the city and with full of innovation. And finally, Mr. Grgic, as always, raised a lot of good points, and thank you for the things you mentioned, and somehow, you know, you make it be more I don't know, more comprehensively speaking about all potentials, all advantages and disadvantages. You are true. We can have the good plans, prioritize everything, but if there is no interest of the investors for these topics, then we are again failed. So hope to the next months that local governance and government of Montenegro and all together we can lead and manage good decisions and prioritization of the good things which we can meet, good projects and targets which we can meet in next years. So thank you for the possibility to say final remarks. I want to thank Mr. Marquet, Mr. Koenig and Mr. Grbic and you, Ms. Moderator, for insightful discussion. There were a lot of divisive topics, but I am sure that we address all the things which are somehow here in the field of daily work in the municipality of Podgorica, and it makes sense to speaking common on behalf of all of the interests, but of course it's up to all of us to find solution, and I try to build the partnerships with both of institutions which you here represent, but as well with many others, and trying to find the best and smart solution for sustainable business environment in Podgorica. Thank you once again, and wish you fruitful discussion in the rest of the forum.
Thank you.
We thank the panelists for their very inspiring presentations, and I announce a 15-minute break followed by another panel. Thank you. Okay, thank you. I invite the panelists of the second panel to join us. Please, Mr. Nik Đeljošaj, Mr. Filip Radulović, you're welcome, Mr. Raymond Zakaria, and Ms. Milena Lipovina-Božović. Thank you.
So good afternoon and welcome to the second panel of the third Podgorica Investment Forum. I'm Šućo Rahovac and I'm honored to be given a privilege to moderate this panel. I'm head of Department for Entrepreneurship and Investment in the capital city of Podgorica. And as we gather here, we recognize the significance of this event, where industry leaders, experts, investors, speakers from different walks of life come together to explore opportunities and discuss the ever-evolving landscape of investments. Throughout the course of this panel, we will delve into various investment sectors, from artificial intelligence, green energy, to some of government's most important infrastructural projects. We will explore emerging trends, disruptive technologies, and the impact of global events on investment opportunities. Our esteemed panelists and speakers will share their expertise, experience, and success stories, providing you with valuable insights to make informed investment decisions. Once again, I extend my warmest welcome to each and every one of you. Let us embark on this journey of exploration, innovation, and collaboration. My guests for today's panel are an ex-mayor of Tuzi municipality, now Vice President for Economic Policy and Minister of Economic Development in the 44th Government of Montenegro, Mr. Nik Đeljošaj, welcome to the panel. Head of European Bank for Reconstruction and Development Office in Montenegro since November 2021, Mr. Ramon Zakaria, welcome to the panel. Thank you. Assistant Professor at the Faculty of Economics, University of Montenegro, with 14 years experience as a teaching assistant in the Department of Quantitative Economics. She held the position of Sales Secretary for Economic Development Policies in the Ministry for Economic Development Policies in the 42nd Government of Montenegro. She is currently President of the Board of Directors of the Innovation Fund of Montenegro and Director of Confucius Institute at the University of Montenegro. Ms. Milena Lipovina-Božović, welcome to the panel. Last but not the least, ex-CEO of Montenegro Works, ex-president of Board of Directors of TU Montenegro, also with valuable experience in Tesla Corporation. Born in Podgorica and raised in the United States, Minister of Transportation and Maritime Affairs, Mr. Filip Radulović. Thank you for coming to the panel. So my first question goes to Mr. Vice President of the government. Dear Minister, the government has recently announced the draft budget for 2024, which needs to go, of course, through parliamentary procedure and voted for in order to be adopted. In light of this budget, could you please provide an update on the government's effort to attract investments and promote regional cooperation? Specifically, I would like to know about any recent initiatives or policies aimed at fostering economic growth, encouraging foreign direct investments, and strengthening collaboration among neighboring regions.
Hvala puno, uvaženi panelisti, dragi gosti Podgoričkog foruma, hvala puno na pozivu, uvažena gradonačelnice. Sa zadovoljstvom sam prihvatio ovaj poziv da danas ovdje sa panelistima ovog foruma koji već postaje tradicionalan razgovaramo o onome što su, stanje naše u ekonomiji i ono što se moglo prikazati kroz budžet kao mjere koje će uslijediti u narednoj godini, odnosno oni fiskalni parametri koji očekujemo u narednih 3. Mi treba prvo da konstatujemo da je u tekućoj godini imamo veliki pad stranih investicija u poređenju sa prethodnom godinom. U onim što smo imali od Monstata analizi za prvi 10 mjeseci ove godine, mislim da je drastičan pad uporedo sa 2022. godini uticalo na onome što je, ja mislim, u Crnoj Gori bilo realno, a to je da nismo imali političku stabilnost i sve to povezano sa još drugim mjerama, mislim, koje su bili u našem, pravnom poretku, a to je nesigurnost investicija zbog nedovoljno povjerenja u institucije pravde. I to su neki 2 parametra, mislim, koji su dosta uticali da taj pad bude veliki, a iznosi negdje oko 41% manje nego prethodne godine, što su velike brojke, ali se nadam da sada sa novom vladom, sa novom političkim stabilnosti koju je dobila izborom nove vlade, da možemo polako da kreiramo drugi ambijent gdje bismo privukli strane investicije. U tom dijelu već imamo kompletiranje Ustavnog suda, za nekoliko dana imamo izbor sudskog savjeta i nadam se u punom mandatu izbor VDT-a. Sve ovo pominjem koji nema direktne veze sa ekonomijom, ali u jednom smislu da je sigurnost jedne zemlje za investiranje, jer ukoliko nemate sigurnost svoje investicije u neku zemlju, ukoliko vladavina prava je upitna, ukoliko su institucije nekompletirane, ukoliko imate političku nestabilnost, onda ne možemo očekivati da će neko svoj novac dovesti ovdje u neku nesigurnost investirati. Treba napomenuti i pozitivne stvari koje imamo, a to je da smo članica NATO saveza koja dodatno daje Crnoj Gori sigurnost investicije. Naravno da smo zatekli jedno veoma loše stanje u procesu koji je bio sada pred Savjetom Europe, a to je mogućnost da budemo na manuel sivoj listi, što smo brzom reakcijom uspjeli da izbjegnemo, što je jako pozitivno i sada u realizaciju onih mjera koje planiramo u sljedećoj godini imamo malo veću, odnosno umjerenu stabilnost gdje očekujemo nakon svega ovoga, imamo i najavu i nakon 2019. godine po prvi put i međuvladinu konferenciju sa Europskom komisijom. Sve su to veliki pomaci u mjesec i pol dana koji su se desili, koji su Crnu Goru vratili u neku stabilnost, sigurnost, gdje možemo očekivati veće investicije, odnosno one koje nas interesuje iz inostranstva. Dalje, šta mi trebamo tu da dodatno radimo jeste da dođemo do novog zakona o privrednim društvima. To je nešto što je jako važno da u narednoj godini završimo. To je nešto što smo i kroz mjere koje smo proslijedili Europskoj komisiji u sklopu plana rasta koji je predstavila Europska komisija od 6 milijarda za Zapadni Balkan da ćemo implementirati u sljedećoj godini i ujedno i onaj centralni registar gdje ćemo moći da ponudimo da kroz novi zakon sa europskim standardima koji radimo zajedno sa savjetnicima iz EBRD-a gdje ćemo uspjeti, odnosno da imamo rješenje koje ćemo ići dalje prema zakonodavstvu vlade, odnosno nakon toga i mišljenje Europske komisije kako bismo što brže imali to zakonsko rješenje. Ponavljam, bit će novi zakon, neće biti izmjena i dopuna zakona kako se u jednom momentu planiralo i očekujem da taj dio završimo negdje u drugom ili trećem kvartalu sljedeće godine. Crna Gora ima dosta prednosti koje možemo da ukažemo našim investitorima, to jeste da smo članica Svjetske trgovinske organizacije, članica smo CEFTA sporazuma i EFTA sporazuma. To su neke povoljnosti koje možemo nuditi investitorima da kroz implementacije tih sporazuma da budu na malo širem tržištu nego što je samo Crna Gora i uvijek u ovom predsjedavanju koje smo imali kao Crna Gora u ovoj godini sa CEFTA-om smo pokazali dodatno napor, uočili i vidjeli da smo spremili još 6 novih sporazuma koje čekamo od članica CEFTA da se usvoje, a to svi se tiče slobodne trgovine i onda ponovo se vraćamo na ono što imamo i od Europske komisije u sklopu plana rasta jeste da traže od nas da na Zapadnom Balkanu kreiramo jedinstveno tržište, odnosno po mogućnosti jedinstveno sistem plaćanja i sa Europskom komisijom. Olakšice i programi podrške za investicije su nešto što ćemo pokušati da unaprijedimo sljedeće godine, a pogotovo uredbom o biznis zonama. Znam da je u tom projektu bio krenuo i glavni grad, mislim da je to dobra ideja i ne samo biznis zona, nego da pokušamo da kreiramo u neke zone koje će biti i free zone, takozvane, gdje ćemo kreirati, možda Crna Gora ima potencijale za 3 takva regionalna slobodna trgovinske zone, da ima jednu u centru, jednu na sjeveru i jednu na primorju i tako ponudimo dodatne vrijednosti za našu ekonomiju i tu mislim da je mogućnost investiranja i inostranog biznisa, a napomenuo sam ovo, Podgorica je imala jedan sjajan program u proteklom periodu koji mislim da je jako važno da se implementira, to je kreiranje biznis zona, biznis centra gdje ćemo imati dodatne investicije u našoj zemlji i gdje ćemo pogledati, mi sad ovih dana imamo i sastanak, znači program za unapređenje konkurentnosti privrede kroz savjet za konkurentnost koji je savjet koji je zajednički sa EBRD-om funkcioniše pri Ministarstvu ekonomskog razvoja, da ponovo pokrenemo taj savjet, da vidimo koji su to barijere, koje su to stvari koji onemogućavaju razvoj biznisa. Dalje, jedan od izazova koji na neku ruku može da odmaže stranim investitorima jeste to da imamo veći nivo od onoga što su očekivanja vlade jeste sive ekonomije. To je neka neprestana borba koja će trebati da ima država. Prema zadnjem izvještaju koje smo imali jeste da 1/3 sive ekonomije ostaje još uvijek u prometu, a to znači da se za tu 1/3 umanjuje i naš budžet i mogućnosti koje možemo kroz mjere i budžet da imamo. Posebni fokus će biti u narednom periodu i u ciljima one koje smo predstavili kroz novi budžet jeste da podržimo male i srednje poduzeća. Mala i srednja poduzeća su onaj osnov razvoja jedne ekonomije. Bez jakih i bez dobrih, jakih malih i srednjih poduzeća nema razvoja ekonomije. U sklopu ministarstva kojem rukovodim smo planirali značajne subvencije za narednu godinu u tom sektoru je skoro 4 milijuna eura i naravno imamo aktualni program po kome su i ove godine podijeljena ta sredstva i prema onome što sam kratko video, taj program mora, odnosno imat će veliku izmjenu u pogledu onoga šta i na koji način ćemo da podržimo u toj ekonomiji u malim i srednjim poduzećima. Mislim i treba i to će biti fokus i nove vlade, to jeste da podržimo proizvodnju. Jer tu imamo najveći problem kao država, imamo veliki veliku razliku između uvoza i izvoza. To je nešto što sprječava i ono što možemo kao ekonomije da ostvarimo, da imamo vidljivi ekonomski rast, a dodatno u ovoj godini su se pogoršali ta statistika, znači za prvih 10 mjeseci ove godine u poređenju sa istim periodom od prošle godine imamo dodatno veći uvoz, a smanjio se izvoz, što su jako loši parametri, jako loša za ekonomiju, tako da fokus i sa novim budžetom i sa mjerama koji su u budžetu ne samo u ovom sektoru malih i srednjih poduzeća, nego kroz agrobudžet ćemo imati taj fokus da jačamo našu proizvodnju kroz kampanju u narednom periodu koju ćemo početi sa Privrednom komorom, koji je bio iz prethodnog perioda, koji je bio jako lijepa kampanja, to je da edukujemo sve nas, a to je da kupimo domaće, da je to nešto što je jako važno za razvoj ekonomije i u tom sektoru da pokušamo da dođemo do veće stabilnosti i rasta. Dodatno u narednoj godini, negdje u 3. kvartalu, planiramo da bude funkcionalan i kreditni garantni fond, odnosno garantni fond koji će imati fokus pogotovo mala i srednja poduzeća. Isto projekat uz podršku konsultantsku IBRD-a i mislim da je to jako potrebno našoj ekonomiji jer fokus samo na velike kompanije koje imaju lak pristup i bankama i tom financijskom sektoru, onda ostaje ovaj sektor malih i srednjih poduzeća bez neke podrške. Kroz taj dio očekujemo da dodatno budemo imali fokus da imamo više sredstava za mala i srednja poduzeća, da oni investiraju, naprijede ono što zajednički mislimo kao društvo da treba da bude prioritet, a mislim da smo svi u tom jednoglasni da proizvodnja je nešto što moramo dodatno da unaprijedimo i da kroz sve ove mjere damo doprinos da smanjimo uvoz i povećamo naš izvoz. Imamo veliko interesovanje u energetskom sektoru pogotovo, da dođe do novih inostranih investicija. Zajednički smo sa ministrom Odović i Mujević napravili jednu strategiju kako u narednom periodu da neke složene procedure koje imamo u našim zakonskim rješenjima gdje godinama pričamo o solarnoj energiji, solarnim elektranama, a za proizvod još uvijek nemamo nešto u funkciji. Mislim da ćemo doći ubrzo do jednog finog i dobrog zakonskog rješenja koje se da uprosti jer je neshvatljivo da možemo zakonskim rješenjima vidjeti izgradnju jedne solarne elektrane koja ima ograničen rok trajanja od 25 do 30 godina kao da gradimo jednu zgradu. Mislim da tu treba izaći u susret zahtjevima investitora i ono što imamo kao mogućnost da dodatno valorizujemo. Očekujemo do kraja godine da imat ćemo jedan prijedlog koji će ići prema skupštini kako pomoći i taj dio da se dodatno stavi u funkciju i dodatno imamo u tom sektoru strane investicije ujedno sa onim što imamo jako značajan resurs, a to je, ja mislim, poslije nezavisnosti i članstva u NATO, jedan od najznačajnijih projekta, to je energetski kabel koji imamo sa Italijom, koji je veliki potencijal, koji nije iskorišten, ne samo iz onoga što mi možemo da proizvodimo, nego i Crnu Goru da vidi kao jedno čvorište električne energije ovdje na Zapadnom Balkanu i kroz tu vezu koju imamo sa Italijom, odnosno sa Europskom unijom, dodatno valorizujemo i iskoristimo. Agrobudžet više neće biti socijalna kategorija, da podijelimo 60 milijuna na sve strane bez nekog jasnog programskog opredjeljenja, a to je da bude fokus, da imamo nakon toga dodatnu vrijednost, odnosno rezultat u proizvodnji onih proizvoda koji proizvode naši poljoprivrednici, a to je da idu u preradi, jer mislim da je bilo dosta socijalnog agrobudžeta, moramo da krenemo malo drugačiji na programski i nivo, tako da puno ambicija, puno planova koji su predstavljeni i kroz budžet, ali i kroz PER koji smo usvojili na vladi, koji je i dalje proslijeđen Europskoj komisiji, kroz mjere koje ćemo usvojiti u sklopu plana rasta, a zajednički sprovesti sa Europskom komisijom, mislim da Crna Gora će biti više interesantna stranim investitorima, ukupni ambijent je bolji i u narednom periodu očekujemo da ove statističke brojke koje su jako, jako loše iz ove godine, već u sljedećoj godini budu puno, puno bolje i da naša ekonomija i osjeti to, a male ekonomije mjere osjećaju puno brže nego velike ekonomije. To je velika prednost za našu državu, odnosno velika pogodnost za naše građane, jer mogu ekonomski benefit osjetiti prije nego veće zemlje, a također vjerovatno će i kolega Radulović o tome, preduslov svih velikog i većeg ekonomskog razvoja će biti naša infrastruktura, a to je da pokušamo luku bar da pozicioniramo malo bolje. Kao što znamo, ona je takva sa ovom povezanosti infrastrukturom od osnivanja, nije bilo ulaganja ni u željezničku infrastrukturu, sad imamo grant Europske komisije, Europske unije za dijelom nije da se ona modernizuje, ali i autoputevi su one veze bez kojih teško možemo da ostvariti ekonomski razvoj i ključno, ja mislim, za onu fabriku koju već imamo, to je turizam, jeste da se nadam i da ćemo do kraja godine donijeti odluku o davanju koncesije aerodroma koji će u njima neko investirati, da će biti atraktivni, da ćemo kroz te naše aerodrome dovesti još mnogo i turista, ali nadam se i nakon sprovođenja ovih mjera i novih investitora. Hvala.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I really hope that we have reached a level of political stability which is both sufficient and necessary in order to enter a new investment cycle. I am happy to hear that you're working on resuming the Credit Guarantee Fund. We have worked on it in the 42nd government of Montenegro, and I'm happy that you resume your work on it. It is the first cushion in times of crisis for small businesses, and it is also a first address for micro and small businesses in Montenegro. Regarding how you're going to tackle the shade economy, you have mentioned that's 1/3 of our GDP. I hope the government will find efficient measures and mechanisms in order for these illegal flows to enter the legal flows into our budget and GDP as well. Mr. Zakaria, you have been recognized as someone who works intensively on decarbonization of economy. In September 2021, EBRD has adopted a new state strategy for Montenegro, where green energy has been labeled as one of 3 pillars of the strategy. You have been appointed as head of EBRD office in Montenegro in November 2021. Regarding the energy efficiency project in our country, what have you done so far, and where do you see the potential and results in the rest of your mandate here?
Thank you very much, and thank you to Madam Mayor for inviting us to join this event. We are very delighted to be here today. So very briefly, what we've been doing since I took office, we have been implementing existing programs of the bank in the region. We have a program called the Regional Energy Efficiency Program, and I happen to be leading the coordination of it, so I'm very familiar with it. And in Montenegro, we are trying our best to ensure that Montenegro is taking its share within this program as other countries in the region. So under this program, you have different windows. On the policy side, we are trying to help Montenegro with technical assistance. We are going to engage with the Ministry of Energy on energy performance certifications for buildings. On the investment side, we have the indirect window, so through local banks. We have 2 credit lines. One was signed in 2021 with CKB, and the other one is going to be has been signed this year with NLB. These are credit lines to citizens that want to renovate their homes with energy efficiency equipments. They can access 20% grants, and they are also technical assistance supported by Austria. And I would like to thank also the Austrian ambassador who is here and the European Union for the investment grants that they are providing alongside our loans through those banks. We have also been working with the Ministry of Education and with the Ministry of Health for the renovation of buildings. I happen, unfortunately, to witness the state of the hospital here in Montenegro, as I have been hospitalized in January, and we really wanted to give our contribution. Under this program, Montenegro can access 20% investment grant from the EU, again, with EBRD loans combined, and free technical assistance to help upgrade these hospitals and schools in energy efficiency standards. So we have already these 2 projects which are actually defined, 3 hospitals, of which the medical center in Podgorica, and 24 schools will be, I hope, signed in 2024 with the government to renovate schools and hospitals with energy efficiency standards. We also have another program which we would like to implement with the municipality of Podgorica. Other municipalities in the region have joined this program. It's called Green Cities. I could not agree more with the mayor when she mentioned that it's very important to prioritize and define the investments, because there are many competing priorities. It's hard to find a way to prioritize. And we have technical assistance dedicated to that. We have under this program. It helps basically identifying and prioritizing green investments for municipalities. All the capitals in the Balkans have joined, and we look forward to welcome Podgorica to the program, as well as also to help Podgorica investing in energy efficiency. We have actually conducted already a study and identified 35 buildings in Podgorica that can achieve energy efficiency investments and again benefit from the 20% grants under the other program. So we can actually combine 2 programs for Podgorica, the Green Cities and the Regional Energy Efficiency Program. And so this is what I look forward to do going ahead. And we have many other things, but I don't want to take much of the time from the audience.
Thank you. Could you elaborate more regarding the energy certificates and quality control? Do you have plans to elaborate more, like these topics in Montenegro? Do we have the environment infrastructure ready for it, or is it a plan for the near future?
So currently in Montenegro, you have the primary regulation, energy efficiency law, but you don't have enforcement of secondary regulation. What does it mean? You don't have all of these requirements for energy performance certificates. You don't have the actual auditors trained and certified and authorized to actually conduct this. We understand that the new government is intending to actually pass on all of this secondary regulation, but they would need, for example, trainings for these auditors. They would need to learn from other countries how they manage to enforce it, because you can have certificates, but if you don't have a proper enforcement mechanism which goes and checks that the auditor is actually doing their job and not just giving you a piece of paper with with what you would like to see on the certificate, then you have a problem, right? So you need to really have the right checks and balances in the system to make sure that the auditors are doing their job, to make sure that there is accountability and that there is a proper system in place with its consistency, and to make sure that there is enforcement of the regulation. So that's, I think, also what is very important in Montenegro, and we will provide technical assistance and support to the Ministry of Energy in that regards to try to implement this in the near future.
Thank you, Mr. Zakaria. Professor Lipovina-Božović, artificial intelligence is seen by many as an engine of productivity and economic growth. It can increase the efficiency with which things are done and vastly improve the decision-making process by analyzing large amounts of data. It can also spur the development of new products and services, markets and industries, thereby boosting consumer demand and generating new revenue streams. However, artificial intelligence may also have a highly disruptive effect on the economy and society. Some warn that it could lead to the creation of super firms, hubs of wealth and knowledge that could have detrimental effect on the wider economy. It could boost the demand for workers with certain skills and make others redundant. This could have far-reaching consequences for the labor market. So far, there are no policies which could reap the benefits of AI and keep all the risk related to it down. Montenegro as a country is heavily relying on tourism, which has been proven wrong and risky, especially during the COVID times. Well aware of the fact that we need to diversify our economy, in our public discussions and in our government strategic documents, we often mention green energy and IT as alternative economic pillars. Now my question to you is, what are your thoughts on economic impact that artificial intelligence has? And do you see it as a threat or as an opportunity for our economy?
First of all, thank you very much for the opportunity to participate at today's traditional, I would say, Economic Investment Forum. It is my great pleasure to be here within these esteemed speakers and this great audience. About the questions, thank you for the questions. I would say that these are very provoking questions, and I will do my best to give some kind of comprehensive overview of this, I would say, complex landscape about AI-related investments and its impact on the economy. So first, coming from academia, let me stress that there is a really growing interest among scholars and economists about exploring the impact of artificial intelligence and other new technologies on economic growth. And all these studies are stressing the significant importance that AI has on economic growth through enhancing and fostering innovation and productivity. But still, also on the other side, we have some significant concerns related to the unemployment issues and also inequities. So definitely we should be aware of both these threats and opportunities and have all that in mind. To be more precise, let me give some examples of what can be some potential opportunities from the artificial intelligence. Maybe the first one is AI can be seen as a potential to significantly boost innovation and productivity. As you know, the whole process of automating routine tasks, AI can open more space for the human capital to do more strategic and creative jobs, and in that respect, enhance overall productivity. On the other side, if we see how deeply AI entered into various sectors and is integrated into various sectors of the economy, it can help to transform some sectors like agriculture, tourism, public services as well. And for example, if you talk about Montenegro, and we know how vital tourism sector is for our economy, AI can help maybe to give some more personalized experience to our tourists, and in that way completely in one another direction boost the whole sector. It's the same opportunity for all other sectors in the economy. Third thing I think is very important is by embracing AI, it's a great opportunity for Montenegro to position as a forward-thinking country in terms of attracting foreign direct investments that are related to the technological innovations and also some global investors that can also boost and open opportunities for the new jobs and in that way also boost our economic growth. Where I see very huge importance of integrating AI is actually education and the whole educational system. I believe that it can very much revolutionize learning experience and boost it in another direction, providing more tailored education to individual needs. It's a great opportunity to prepare our workforce, our students, our children for maybe we can say some new AI-driven world, which is not a future, it's already the present. We just need to accept it. And many other different areas. However, we should be also aware of some concerns that are really present, and maybe the main one, the most present one, is related to the possibility that AI will bring some jobs, will bring to some job displacement, meaning that automation can render some jobs obsolete, and we can have the possibility that in some sectors that are mostly repetitive and routine tasks to be let's say, replaced. That can also bring the necessity to have a lot of workforce to be retrained again, and it also can be quite a challenge. Also related to the workforce, I think that AI can also widen some skill gap within workers, meaning that current workforce may not be equipped well for some new jobs, and also to easier get past the transition to AI-driven economy. That can be quite a challenge for not only employers, but also for the employees. Another important concern is related to economic inequity. There is a risk that benefits of AI might be unevenly distributing, exacerbating economic inequities, meaning that high-skilled workers may have more benefits from AI-related economy and jobs, while low-skilled workers can suffer and have some bigger challenges. So it's something that is very vivid, and it's happening all around. So I believe that, like any disruptive technologies, they are present both risks and challenges, and we should be aware of it. A key is actually in how all these technologies are integrated in the economy and in the society. I believe that the development of an adequate AI policy framework, together with the ethical and prudent, responsible implementation with a focus on education and the training, is something that will help that all these potential threats are transformed to the opportunities. So
we are coming to my next question. So I want to ask you what specific policies and initiatives are crucial for attracting and fostering AI-related investments?
First, I don't want to say that it's only about AI investment, because if you want to create any environment that will foster any kind of investment, including AI investment, it is actually important to have multiple factors to be in place and to take care about it. So Podgorica and Montenegro, like any region, want to foster and to enhance any investments, need to really have in mind different aspects. One is, I would say, regulation, so legal span, economic, infrastructural, cultural, educational one. So on the having in mind all that like very complex thing, I think that we should try to create a stable, innovative ecosystem, and to not only to draw this investment in our country, but also to nurture them and to sustain them. So if we want to, like say, to have some kind of assumptions, important assumptions that we as a country or municipality have to fulfill in order to attract any investment, not only AI related, I think that it will be maybe the following. The first one, already someone from the panelists said that, it's a legal framework. So it's a sound legal framework which is essential for attracting investments, and it's not only about the law, it's about the implementation, it's about having the atmosphere in the country that will bring the confidence to investors, that will feel them more confident and secure with their investments, with their innovations, and so on. So also to have kind of fast, fair, transparent procedures and handling of all contracts in the dispute. So that's the basic. I'm sorry to talk about it now, but unfortunately, after all these years, we all still didn't check that first step. So it's important to emphasize. Already the panelists talk about some physical and digital infrastructure. Both are very, very important. And when I'm talking about digital infrastructure, especially in terms of attracting this technology innovation, it's very much important. But not only that, of course, the transportation infrastructure and logistic infrastructure, energy, and so on. All that is very important. Third point, I would say for me personally, it's maybe the most important one. It's related to the human capital. So any country aspiring to attract any like AI-related investments or technology investments need to pay more attention on the workforce. And that's, I think that future policies should be related to the more investing in education, training of our workforce, and preparing them with the right skills for the market. So the policy which will try to retain our top talents, which will try to bring back maybe some of the youngs that went abroad for the studies and so on are very, very much important. And of course, the overall reform of the educational system will be beneficial if you want to prepare our workforce for the new coming economy. Also, I think that what Minister said about incentives, tax incentives as well is very important in creating that attractable environment. We already have some very important laws, like law for incentive measures for innovation and research, which is currently in the place. I think that there will be some changes, but all these things that can be like more attractive for the investors to do, especially when we talk about maybe startups and investing in startups, they can like have some subsidies in that respect. I believe that the whole regulatory framework is also important, especially as technologies are evolving, so the regulations should follow that. So we need regulations in terms of AI, we need regulations in terms of cybersecurity, blockchain, and so on. So we definitely should go in that respect and follow all these modern new technologies.
Thank you, Professor, for this.
I probably forgot some other things, but you can ask.
Thank you, Professor, for this insightful intervention. My next question goes to Minister Radulovic. The Minister, as Minister of Transportation and Maritime Affairs, you have announced that one of your priorities will be development of highways. The government has announced recently that it will continue to construct the Bar-Boljari Highway. How do you think this biggest infrastructural project so far will affect the economy of Montenegro and the capital city?
First of all, let me thank everyone for attending the conference, including my colleagues here on the stage, and in particular the audience, and the mayor for extending the invite for me to speak on this topic today. I think it's a very interesting topic, and one that really needs a wider, broader spectrum of people to be included. Podgorica is the cultural, financial, and governmental hub of Montenegro. We see that in particularly in position with respect to the north and the south. It's perfectly situated in the middle. And then continuing and finishing the Bar-Boljari highway means better and safer transport throughout the north, Andrijevica, Berane, Rožaje. The importance of the highway can be seen in particularly when we look at the first portion of the highway that was built from Podgorica to Kološin. In that case, over 100 domestic companies were hired as subcontractors. 35% of the total value of the highway stayed in-house in the country. The original plan was about 800 million. That ballooned up to a little over $1 billion. So that means about 350 million stayed inside the country, capital that stayed inside the country, which is really important. That is a number that should in the future be even higher than 35%, but as is very key. We also hired hundreds of engineers. And that transfer of knowledge is really key. When you hire that many engineers and you train them, you have a really crucial transfer of knowledge. And that's not something that you can say, okay, transfer of knowledge will bring the country 100 million or $1 billion. It's something that you see later on when you negotiate again. You have a team that's been through a round of negotiations. So the next negotiation, the country is able to save X amount of dollars. Then you go into the next project, and then you see the people don't need to be trained. The people are ready to work and ready to go. And so that transfer of knowledge is a huge money maker for the country, but it's not one that you can see and put a dollar mark or a euro mark next to. Building highways lessens travel time, increases safety on the roads, and ties multiple regions of the country together. All of these things have positive effects on the economy. And there's multiplier effects. You build roads in between cities, there's a certain multiplier effect. You build a road between two municipalities, an even bigger multiplier effect. And you go on and so forth. You build a road to a new region, to the north, for example. There's an even bigger multiplier effect. You build it to another country, you build it to another country's capital. There's consistent multiplier effects that can take into account for the economy. One interesting statistic, the amount of traffic in between Podgorica and Kološin averages increase about 20% after building of the first part of the Barboljara highway. That's an average amount, obviously. We have a little bit more during the summertime and less during the wintertime, but a 20% increase in traffic is substantial. And how does this all affect Podgorica? Essentially, the goal here is to connect two capitals. Just last week, I was in Sarajevo, quick digression, to talk about building a bridge in between Montenegro and Bosnia. That's going to connect eventually with better infrastructure, Podgorica and Sarajevo. The point of Barboljare is eventually to connect Podgorica with Belgrade. We also talked about building Jadransko-Jonski autoput, Adriatic-Ionian highway, which again, the point of that is that we're going to eventually one day be able to connect Zagreb all the way down with a better road to Tirana.
Thank you. My next question is regarding the airports. Is the concession for the airports still an option? And how do you plan to get back the low-cost carriers?
Thanks for the question. It's a hot topic nowadays. I think we all agree that Podgorica deserves a more modern and efficient airport. That's pretty obvious, and we can see how that's going to contribute to the touristic and economic expansion of the entire country along with Podgorica. The fastest way between two objects is obviously through aviation, when there's aviation infrastructure in place. Montenegro is, at this state, de facto an island because of the road infrastructure that we just mentioned isn't up to the state and to the standard that it should be. We are de facto an island, and so we rely heavily on aviation. And then the question you propose presupposes that you already assume that we need a drastic overhaul for the airports, which is why you asked, are we going to look into the concessions? I agree that a drastic overhaul for the airports is needed, whether through concessions or the government investing themselves. Regardless, that there needs to be a drastic overhaul when it comes to the airports. In the Western Balkans, almost all the airports have been given to concessions. Varying levels of content. I just had a bilateral with the Minister of Traffic in Northern Macedonia last week, and he gave a great example in Skopje. They're very happy with the way their concessions went. And world-class concessionaires bring the know-how, international experience, and the marketing. I think that's a really key thing. They know how to market in different airports around the world with these different concessionaires that own different airports. You see that the ability for us to market Montenegro in different airports around the world, which is not something that we should take lightly. Any opportunity for marketing outside of Montenegro is key for us as a country that depends so heavily on tourism. As it pertains to low-costers, other airports in the region have the same problem with low-costers, and it's not just us. Aviation is very cyclical. In the winter time, the airplanes, they get reworked, the fuselage gets reworked, the motors get taken off in many cases, get sent to other areas to get reworked during the winter time, and then by default, you have less airplanes and less motors on the market, and then the airlines themselves then start moving their routes to other locations in Europe and in the region that is simply going to bring them more money. So it's a cyclical thing. It's not just here in Montenegro, but it's in the region and the rest of Europe as well. I do have a plan to bring back low-costers. The plan is in the works, so I'm not going to release that now, but I should be in the very near period ready to be announced publicly. Until then, I would recommend to Montenegro. Just opened up a route to Rome last week, so that's one option for the time being.
Thank you, Minister. So now for the end, I would like to ask Mr. Vice President if he can have some closing remarks regarding all the topics that we have covered so far.
Hvala. Ja bih radije to propustio profesorici. Ipak je to institucija koja treba da zajedno sa Vladom i Ministarstvom ekonomskog razvoja da napravimo jedan plan mjera koje ćemo u narednom periodu da isprovedemo. Ovo govorim i zbog toga što sam danas bio u posjeti ekonomskom fakultetu i tamo razgovarao sa studentima i ovako me je jedan podatak koji sam dobio od prodekana fakulteta jeste da su u jednom istraživanju od prošle godine sa brucošima 60% brucoša se izjasnilo da nakon završetka studija vidi sebe u državnoj upravi. I to je i po meni, a mislim i po profesorima, jako loša poruka, odnosno jako loše za društvo, za državu. A ja sam na početku danas tog, razgovora sa studentima kao jedan od velikih naših problema ekonomije, razvoja ekonomije je preglomazna državna uprava koja mora, a uz preglomazna, da budemo samo kritični, možemo reći i neefikasna u mjeri koliko je glomazna. I mislim da je to jedan veliki problem razvoja ekonomije i prakse nastavka te logike i kod mladih, za koju ja naravno ne mislim da su to krivi mladi, ja mislim da su to krive politike koji su kreirali takav ambijent da su mladi orijentisani ni za neke nove start-up, niti za neke inovativna rješenja u nekom biznisu ili tako nešto, nego da idu prema državnoj upravi i to je nešto što ja mislim da trebamo kao društvo, kao državu, svim ovim idejama i tehnologijama koje dolaze da radimo, jer mislim da nema te strategije koje može imati ekonomija koje ne povežemo i kroz sistem obrazovanja, da od osnovne škole neke osnovne stvari u ekonomiji kod mladih uključimo, a to je i ovo što sam napomenuo u prethodnom jeste da kupimo i odnosno trošimo sredstva u domaćim proizvodima, ono koliko možemo i imamo i naravno mi moramo kao vlada da ta stručna javnost, fakulteti ekonomije koje imamo u našoj državi da malo više budu uključeni u procese i odlučivanja i u strategijama i svemu onome što moramo da planiramo stvari ne danas za sutra, ne kako bi se nekome u jednom određenom periodu svidjelo ili ne, nego da donesemo krupne, odnosno hrabre odluke koje će našu ekonomiju odvesti prema razvoju. Vjerujem da u novoj vladi ima snage za to, da smo jako spremni da stručna javnost bude još dodatno uključena u procesu donošenja odluka, da sa pravom imamo toliki razvoj tehnologije, toliko novih rješenja koje je pomenula profesorica, a mi nismo uspjeli da ih pratimo sa zakonskim rješenjima. Znači, svugdje oko nas se dešavaju, mi imamo zakonska rješenja koja mi možemo onda da ih gledamo samo virtualno, da se dešavaju, ali ne možemo da ih sprovedemo u našu ekonomiju i našu stvarnost i to je ono što moramo i ono što ja zovem kao hrabre odluke, da u tim nekim i u agencijama i u savjetima i to da dođemo do rješenja sa stručnim, kvalitetnim kadrovima ima u državi, ima u državnoj upravi i stručnih i kvalitetnih, ima ih u našim institucijama, ostalim obrazovnim univerzitetu i mislim da to će biti prvi neki narodni koraci koje moramo kao društvo da povežemo ukoliko želimo sve ovo što imamo sjajno, lijepo, sve resurse koje imamo da ih stavimo u funkciju, a zbog toga postoje i vlade i institucije da svi ti resursi budu u funkciju za razvoj ekonomije, za bolji standard građana, a ključno jeste da sve ovo što imamo, da sve ono što pričamo o europskim integracijama, sve ovo što radimo u sprovođenju mjera da bismo dobili sredstva iz plana rasta, sve to nije samo zbog sredstava, nego da ukapiramo da je to za bolje naše ekonomije, za razvoj naše ekonomije i da zajednički ne dođemo u situaciju koju pomenemo često, želimo biti dio Europske unije, ali u Europskoj uniji mislim da moramo da budemo povezani dobrom infrastrukturom, što je ključno, i da kroz one resurse koje imamo ponudimo i našim tim regionalnim tržištima, jer bez veće neko tržište, jer je Crna Gora veoma mala, mislim da sve ove što možemo ovdje uraditi neće dati neke dodatne vrijednosti u ekonomiji, i ovi forumi i ovi sastanci su velika prilika da razgovaramo o tome, da dobijemo nove ideje, nove prijedloge. Ja se ponovo vraćam jer mislim da je to za mene bilo jako važno danas na Ekonomskom fakultetu, gdje smo od studenta dobili jako dobre prijedloge, jake rješenja koje možemo sutra da donesu neke u novim nekim projektima, tako da pokušamo da budemo što transparentniji, što otvoreniji, i kad dođemo do nekih ekonomskih politika da budemo što više uključili sve one aspekte društva koje sam napomenuo na početku, a ključno je da počnemo da što se kaže, od osnovne škole malo promijenimo ono što je u našem osjećaju šta je ekonomija, šta je država, osjećaj prema onome kad radiš državni i privatni posao koji je jako poremećen u našem društvu, i sve su ovo sa nekim problemima koje moramo mi da se suočavamo u narednom periodu. Ja mislim da imamo kapaciteta, što je najvažnije, i ljudski, ali treba i dodatni motiv i napor i rad da sve to implementiramo. Hvala.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I hope the Academia will be regarded as important address and partner in the future when important public policies need to be discussed and implemented. Dear speakers, thank you again for being part of this forum. I think you all have helped us better understand the potential for investments in various fields mentioned today. I would like to thank my esteemed panelists for sharing their expertise and perspective. Please take this opportunity to network with our panelists and fellow attendees. Building connections within the investment community can provide valuable insights and potential collaboration opportunities. Thank you all again. I hope to see you all next year in good health, and I wish you much success in your future endeavors.
Thanks to all participants. Now I invite you to join a photo as well as a cocktail in front of the hall. Thank you very much.